Peace, Knicks fans. Salute. Thank you for being here, Knicks and Bruises. We are back on a Tuesday. I missed the Monday show. I made it to Queen's Court though. Shout out to the Queen. Shout out to DJ Shuttle. Thank you guys for joining.
Yeah,
Uh
all aboard. Yo, Tone, it's time.
yeah, Yo Black is time. And RIP to Takeoff. I want to definitely start with that. Woke up to that news, sad news. Probably gonna talk about it on a stoop tonight or tomorrow or something. Shout out to the Podfather Sim for sure. As always, like the Queen said, grateful, forever grateful. Um, yeah, we here. Appreciate you guys. Let's get it going. Grimes is updated to questionable. Cam is downgraded to questionable. Non-COVID sickness. So we're gonna speculate and go through some scenarios on what it might mean if both are out, both are here, one is out, the others here, and vice versa, and kind of figure this thing out. See what we think it means. Um, but the first thing I want to talk about, talking about questionable, it seems like every time somebody is back, somebody else is hurt or sick. You know what I mean? Like I've seen that more than a few times to make it just a coincidence, but that's just a little Nick conspiracy theory, that I wanted to throw out there and see what you guys think about that. If you noticed it, is it a coincidence or am I just looking into it too much?
I think it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, I'm always down for a good conspiracy, it doesn't only happen on the Knicks. It happens to other teams too.
All right. Well, just keeping that theme going, I'm gonna start with if Cam is out, if Grimes is playing. How do you guys see that panning out? We can start with Queen. I'll go last.
If 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 Grimes is back and Cam is still playing,
No, Cam is out.
I think Grimes get Cam's minutes. You know, I don't think he starts right away, though. We do need an upgrade, in terms of our perimeter defense. But I think that he'll just take Cam's minutes for now. I think Cam is what 14, 15, 16 minutes a game. So I think he'll get those minutes.
Okay. Any particular expectation? First game coming back, first game of the season for him,
Just don't pull
or
a
just
Noel. Don't come back. And
and get
then
hurt.
next thing you know, you out 3 games. That's my expectation. Get through the game without re-injuring anything so that you could be ready for the next one.
No doubt. Shout out to the chat. David L, Kerry Cox, Ashley NY, NIC1. Salute. Appreciate y'all. Shuttle, what you think? Grimes is in, Cam is out. How's it pan out? What's your expectation?
Well, I'm disappointed to hear this because, um, ideally Grimes doesn't have to come in with too much and too high of expectations. But if Cam is out, I mean, who's gonna play the backup small forward spot? I've been on record numerous times that I hate the idea of Grimes playing that role. And if we want him to excel, that's not where we need him at. So yeah, I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned, and I just don't think this Hawks matchup is gonna bode well, and Reddish being out would makes it even worse.
Let me ask you this. Because I agree with you to an extent of I prefer Grimes at the backup two as opposed to at the three, the backup three or at the three spot. in general. Like he can guard whomever in spots, but just to put, and you know what, as the backup three, maybe it's less important. Maybe it's less of a, concern, as opposed to, if he was starting at the three and playing those guys. But so I agree with you in that sense.
Right.
But what if you don't look at it as him playing the three, and you look at it as Tibbs running a three guard lineup, which we saw a little bit of in the preseason,
Right.
and I think opened the door. We seen it without him. We seen it with McBride. So
Yeah.
I think that opens the door for that possibility. Um, I mean, obviously that's what it's gonna be if he's at the three anyway. It's a three guard lineup. But looking at it from that perspective, does it ease your concern, or you just
Nah, I mean, especially with him coming back and not even having had his legs or any reps, any minutes yet in the season, and then the only saving grace as I'm looking at the Hawks depth chart is that Bogdan is out. So if you've got Justin Holiday slash AJ Gifford as the backup small forward, uh, they are not so imposing that the matchup is the worst that it could be. But still not ideal. But I mean, if we're talking about Justin Holiday or AJ Griffin at the back or small forward, maybe maybe he could live a little bit.
good
I
points?
mean,
Good points. Go
the
ahead,
the
Quinn.
only yeah, the only thing I'll add to that is he's giving up size in terms of those who want to shoot over the top. But you're not gonna body him because he's strong. You're not gonna get around him because his lateral quickness is really good. So it becomes like if say he's playing Durant at the three, who the turnaround jumper, you're not gonna be able to contest that. But I don't see, it's not like in the 80s where you saw somebody smaller on you, you would take them in the post. I'm gonna take advantage, of this guy down in the post. You don't really see that a lot. So I think it's more about him playing taller guards and them shooting over the top. I don't think they're gonna bully him. I don't think they're gonna get around him. And it's 14, 16 minutes. Unfortunately, on this team, we don't have a small forward. We're a pretty short team, um, 1 through 3. After Cam, there's no other options unless you're gonna bring in Hunt
Mm.
at that 3 position. So you're almost forced to go to a 3 guard lineup. And Grimes is pretty physical. I put it this way, out of anybody who could play the small forward, I'm more comfortable with him
and
than
and
anybody else on the roster. Put it that way.
and you know we could. I think you guys touched on pretty much all the points that I could have said anyway. So we'll move on and go into the scenario of both questionable, and then both guys being out, and where do we go from there? Which
9-man rotation.
no upgrade. You said nobody steps up. I think I have to think a little bit differently. I think you have to expand the roster at that point.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think RJ is gonna get a heavy load, which I think could be detrimental for us. Like he needs his breaks. It's, I mean, unless he's just on fire and look like he can maintain it. If he's on fire, I'm not taking him out till he missed a couple. You know what I mean? Especially if it's impacting the game. We're winning, or he's keeping us in it, something to that extent. But other than that, he needs his breaks. He needs his rest. He has a tough challenge on the other end. What's their starting small forward's name?
DeAndre Hunter.
Hunter. Like another
Yep.
tall guy, another strong guy. Um, so
I
yeah,
don't think the energy is gonna be defensively, right? Because he's not like a pretty quick guy who's gonna put the ball on the floor, though he can put the ball on the floor.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's not gonna run through him to that extent. But
Mhm.
I'm still. it's still not necessarily a favorable matchup when he has the ball. You know what I
When
mean?
who
It's
has
still
the ball?
when Hunter has the ball. It's like I'm not saying he's gonna have a high usage rate, but when he has the ball, he's a smart guy, he's a strong guy, he's a tall guy. Like you know what I mean? Like
But he's not
not
gonna do
not like
much.
he's one of. I mean,
He's a
he,
three-point shooter. He's a 3 and D guy. This is gonna be one of the easiest assignments RJ has had this season.
I don't want to
Stay
take
in
him.
front of him. Make sure he doesn't hit the three. He knocks somebody. He's not somebody that's gonna put the ball on the floor, drive into the key, pull up for the mid range.
Yeah, but he's a heady player. He slashes. Like he does things that I'm afraid of RJ just getting in foul trouble. Not necessarily like them running the offense through him, or I'm just saying when he's gonna have to defend him,
Yeah, he
but
is.
not getting foul trouble. Like he's gonna be more. We need him more now. You know what I mean? If there's nobody to back him up anyway, you know what I mean? He can't get in foul trouble, and now he sits, and now where we at? So that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
you
I
got to
think
be
he's gonna
extra
be fine with
cautious
this
in,
matchup.
in that. But I think this that would open the door up for shout out to Sharon as well. Um, that would open the door up for a bigger lineup with Obi and Randall and a big and maybe trying that out for not extended minutes, but you know what I mean to spare RJ. I think we would have to look there. I think even expanded role for um Fournier, we would have to look there. Maybe him playing with that second unit at the three, where at least he has some height. You know what I mean? And again, he's playing against backups as opposed to starting unit guys where he's getting killed anyway. So I think those are the options. So maybe you're right. 9-man rotation. I'm gonna move it right on to you. What's your thoughts? Both of those guys out. Queen.
Oh, me?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, this is what I think is gonna happen. RJ Barrett it's gonna be a 9-man rotation, and RJ Barrett is gonna play with the first and second unit.
Okay.
If both players are out,
Yeah.
man, yikes. Um, if both players are out, then we're pretty much looking at a backcourt of Grimes and Rose and Quickly,
Mhm.
and yeah, I mean iHeart and Obi are gonna get their minutes, and yeah, I could see a smart substitution pattern where maybe Evan comes out a little earlier and then comes back in for RJ. I could see slightly the possibility that you suggested, depending on how Hunter's playing. If Hunter's playing big, yeah, then maybe this is that wild card opportunity. We see Obi and Randall in there together. Um, I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, let me not mess this guy's name up, but maybe this is a Svi sighting. Maybe this is
Mm,
a sighting for Svi. We give him a shot. All right,
mm.
let's see what you got. Get
We
out
need
there.
shooting. We
We
need
need
shooting.
we need shooting. He's a legit 6'7". So but I really think it's gonna be determined by who's playing and how they're playing for Atlanta. Like that's one thing I always go back to Bill Belichick. Like it's not about what we do and doing the same thing every week. It's about what's our matchups against this particular team and what do we need to do on this particular game. So, I'm just hoping that the staff is savvy enough to see where there's a weakness or a card that they can pull out of their hat and say, you know what, we need shooting. Let's give Zvi a shot. Or Hunter's killing us and getting us in foul trouble. You know what? We're gonna have to give Obi a chance at the three, or Randall at the three, whatever, whoever we want to say is at the three, along with maybe Sims or iHeart.
I mean,
I
listen. Go ahead,
yeah.
Stone.
No, shout out to the chat as well. Giggle said D Rose and D Rose played with Sliv in Detroit and they were good together. Ashley says, Sims as well. And that was where I was gonna ask you. Do you see an opportunity for Sims and Hartenstein in the backcourt, and Obi, excuse me, having to play some backup three? Um, I don't like him in particular against who'd you say Holiday is one of them?
And I think Holiday is going to be the backup small forward off the
And who's
bench.
the other guy you other possibility you said?
The second year player from Duke, AJ Griffin.
Yeah, I if it's Griffin,
Purchase.
I might look at Obi to guard him if he's at the three.
He's a more
Um,
stronger in the paint kind of player.
but the shooter and that's the Holiday we used to have, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
he might touch Obi just off of like IQ plays. You know what I mean? Getting some N1 threes or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever the case. Um, so I wouldn't put him and chasing him around the court. I wouldn't want Obi doing that. But Griffin, I think that might be a feasible matchup. Any thoughts of Sims and Hartenstein getting that opportunity based off of the our two wings being out?
Well, our heart's getting already averaging more minutes than Mitch, so I don't think his minutes are going to really be too impacted. Um, I think it's a matter of the matchups, and if you see, um, you know, Capella's history, we know Capella, he's a pretty strong guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm already looking forward to the Mitch foul trouble. I'm already, I already put the knives away, and I won't grab anything to slice myself because Mitch is in foul trouble again because Capella does that. So I think iHeart's going to play, and I think that if there is a shot of playing Obi with Randall together, yeah, I think to have some defense and have a different look, Sims might get a couple of minutes. They might give it a shot.
Yeah, and I would play Sims at the five. Somebody said Sims at the four. Why? I would put Sims at the five. I'd move Hartenstein to the four. If I'm what I mean, if they're playing together, I want Sims at his natural role as where Hartenstein, I think that's how you want to say. Um, he's more versatile. You know what I mean? I think he's a ball player to the point where it don't matter if he's at the 4, 5. You know what I mean? Like he's able to play outside, inside. Uh, So yeah. Next
Yeah, I think.
scenario. Oh, go ahead, Queen.
Listen, all of this is nice and good, but the bottom line is we know who Tibbs is, and certain things are just not going to happen. Obi at the three, I would bet my house on it. That's not going to happen. And
So if Cam doesn't play and Grimes doesn't play, he'll rather play RJ and Fournier 44 minutes with Rose and quickly playing a lot of minutes and do
and
all
then
of
put
that.
Obi at the
Maybe
three.
maybe even gives V a couple of minutes before he
Mm.
puts Obi at the three.
Because Obi can't defend in space. I mean, I think his defense has gotten his defensive awareness is better, but we talking about defending in space, like moving your
Mhm.
feet laterally against a three. I wouldn't even put him in that position. If I had to choose, I would put Randall in that position before I would put Obi in that position.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
mean,
mean, I agree. The only option for him at the three is I'm only saying that if it's against Griffin. Like I
But
think
Griffin
that
can
would
put the
be
ball on the floor though.
yes, but he's not the quickest in his movements and like he's
he's
still
more
learning himself basically.
he's more
I'm not
RJ.
saying
He's more RJ like
Oh,
putting it on the floor.
Take a look at the help section in your Alexa app. Sorry about
No,
that.
you
Um,
good.
listen,
He's more
Griffin
RJ
is a
like.
skilled basketball. He's still a skilled basketball player, even if he's not fast. To defend in space laterally, you got to be able to move your hips. You got to be able to shift and change direction. RJ Griffin is not a stiff by any stretch. You know what I mean? So nah.
Mm,
He's also. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't be worried about that particular matchup. Everybody else, you know what I mean, or even I mean, I
but
wouldn't.
but to your point though, if they are out there together, just because they're out there together doesn't mean that he has to stick to small forward. Randall is a little bit more equipped to defend against a small forward, and I could see him being up for the challenge and looking at this as something he needs to get up for a little bit. And yeah, I mean, I don't expect it, but I'm ready for it.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, moving on. Cam's in, Grimes, questionable, but still doesn't play. Still can't play. Obviously, it's not really much to discuss in that scenario. It's what we've been seeing. So I guess my only question to you guys would be: does him being moved up to questionable and then him not playing, does that ease that concern of us not seeing him yet, or you know what I mean? Are you still just as concerned as you was if it was doubtful or out?
This is
Uh,
Grimes we're talking about?
yeah, basically just Grimes being out another game. The are you more encouraged because he's out, but he was questionable? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I would be.
all right, and then obviously, what do you think, Shuttle?
You ain't playing. You ain't playing. I mean, whatever status they give you, I don't care. You're not playing. You're not playing.
So
Yeah.
still concerned or
Listen,
same
I'm not
same
really.
level of concern?
I mean, my concern level is probably like a single digit right now. It's only game 7, and you know, all the reports are he's shooting it pretty well. He's getting ready to come back, and I think that it's imminent. I'd rather they be safe than sorry with this guy because thinking long term, my expectation is that he'll be the starting shooting guard before the end of the season. And so, get it right and come back when you're ready.
No, no doubt. Oh, both guys are available. Both guys are able to play. I mean, this is basically what we've been waiting for. If they both back, uh, where do you see? I guess Grimes fitting in. Like, is the rotation expanded to? Does he have to wait his turn still? Like, or is it right back where he, I guess, left off last year? That pecking order. What do you guys think if both guys are back?
Well, he's not playing at 3, so I kind of don't really see it as much of a concern or a conflict with Cam. And because he's just coming back, there's questions about his health, etc. Like, I'm not going to be really rushing to get him in the game. I don't want to, make the demands too high. Like, just being with the team, going through the warm ups, coming out of halftime, like all that is just a thing in itself before you even get on the court. People don't even realize how much just being there it means something, let alone just getting on the court. So,
Mm,
um, yeah, I mean, we know Rose is situational. So, maybe I'm splitting some of those minutes with him and Rose. Maybe I let Rose come off the bench as shooting guard in the first half. And depending on how he's playing, I bring Grimes in the second half. Something like that, you know.
yeah,
But not too much too quick.
I think. All right, not too much too quick. I mean, Rose was only getting about what 7 minutes per game anyway,
Not
if that.
Nah,
exactly.
like
Well,
8,
12. No, no,
12,
he
like
started
maybe
at
8 to
12,
14
but
minutes, something like that.
I think it dropped. Yeah, 8 to 14.
Yeah.
I think 12 was
Like,
his peak. So let's say eight
right.
to 12.
Now
Uh,
he played 14, 15 minutes one
No, I
game.
mean his peak average.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think let's just say 12 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
So six. They getting 6 and 6 shuttle
I mean, I don't know. Rose is averaging 13 minutes a game right
13. Okay,
now. Yeah. So
six
yeah,
and a half
I mean,
piece
I
or
I I something like Rose plays his minutes in the first half, depending on how he's playing. If he's playing really good, he's feeling like you want to keep him in, then you keep him in. If he's like, not really a great game, second half off the bench, maybe you need defense. So you give Grimes a shot. I mean, we all playing against a pretty strong backcourt. They could very easily be foul trouble. You know, it may turn out that we may end up needing Grimes.
and that's where I was gonna go. But I'm gonna go ahead and What do you think, Quint? Both guys are back. You think Grimes doesn't affect Cam's minutes?
I think it does. Remember in that first, he only played one preseason game, but that's basically what happened. Cam got in the first half. Grimes came in the second half, and we didn't see Cam. So I think that if Grimes does play, he's going to take some of Cam's minutes. I don't think Tibbs is as concerned about Grimes playing the three as we are. I don't see him cutting into IQ's minutes. I don't I don't see him cutting into Rose only he's only playing 12, 13
15
minutes
minutes, yeah.
as it is. If he plays at all, and I believe he will, I think he's going to cut into Cam's minutes. And as time goes on, unfortunately, I think it's going to be Cam that's out of the
Mm,
rotation.
Do you
mm.
recall who that preseason matchup was against?
Who was that matchup when he played? Wasn't it the third game? I don't even think it was the fourth game. It was the third game.
Yeah, I think it was the
Might
third
have been
game.
one of the Pacer games.
No,
No,
no, I think it was the fourth game.
it was the
'Cause
fourth game.
I
Okay,
think it was the fourth game because
Washington
we was like, oh, like at least we know he's good for this, good to go,
for the
moving
season.
forward. Yeah,
Washington then. Washington game.
and that was the other thing. I agree. Cam didn't. We didn't see Cam after the first half, but he also not only had like he had a bad preseason, or like all 4 games. You know what I mean? Like remember we used to talk about him squandering his opportunity. So I think the fact that Grimes came in and looked good and played well had a lot to do with us not seeing Cam. This was his first opportunity and last opportunity. You know what I mean? Before the season started, as far as like just getting run against another team. But uh, interesting that you say you think Cam's out. Interesting that you say Shuttle. You don't think Cam minutes are affected by Grimes' return, but nobody said anything about Fournier and him getting a reduction in minutes or whatever the case, knowing that we've seen that before as well. You know what I mean? Now where his playing time is merit based. When he's
That would not
on, he gets the minutes. When
that
he's
would
not,
not be
he's getting pulled.
that would not be completely true, Mr. Crow. I did say that Fournier, not Fournier, but Grimes, take your time and come back because my expectation is that Grimes is ultimately going to be the starting shooting guard.
Okay.
But once that happens, though, I don't see Fournier being out of the rotation
Oh
over
no.
Cam. That's what I'm saying. Like when it's all said and done and he
Hmm.
gets to his 10-man rotation, I still think Cam is the odd person out. I think Grimes is going to have a spot, and I think Fournier is going to have a spot.
Mm, I,
That's
I I
interesting.
respectfully say that the the few minutes that we see Rose playing, Rose is only playing 13 minutes a game. And he's gonna fall more back into what we call the situational role. And if IQ is playing decent enough to hold down the starting point guard or the backup point guard spot rather, then it's gonna be back to Rose or IQ. Now IQ is the one. I'm sorry, IQ is the one who's been playing disappointing enough that needs to be sitting more than Cam. If anybody needs to be sitting, it's
I don't think
IQ.
it's gonna happen. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I just don't think it's gonna happen. Just knowing Tibbs' relationship with IQ.
and,
Yeah,
and that was actually going to be my next question to you, Queen. So you don't think Cam has proven enough in this short opportunity? I'm saying the beginning of this season, obviously not the preseason, but to warrant Tibbs, adjusting, or him filling in somewhere. The reason
I don't think it's about I think it's about there's only 10 spots. So if you're talking about Tibbs adjusting to playing 11, no. I just don't think that's going to happen. And Tibbs has said that it's tough to play 11 or 12. He said that Sims is deserving, McBride is deserving, but it's hard to play 11 or 12 guys. So I don't think he's going to expand the rotation to past that. Now you're talking about, now it just comes down, do you think Cam is going to beat out IQ or Fournier or Grimes to make it as one of those 10? And I would say, given Tibbs' relationship with IQ, I don't think he's going to beat IQ out for minutes where IQ is situational. I don't think he's going to beat out Grimes. Tibbs is waiting on Grimes to come back. And as much as we don't like Fournier, and as much as we feel that his perimeter defense is not great, and it's not, Tibbs still values him. And I it would be hard for me to see Fournier out of the rotation for Cam. I wouldn't put any money on that.
see the only reason I disagree. I don't think it has to be an open 11-man rotation. I think Cam can be situational and still play, because look at Alfred Payton, right? His time here under Tibbs, he started every game, but based off his performance, determined whether he played 6 minutes, 12 minutes, 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And it could fluctuate throughout the season, like from game to game, it could fluctuate. He would start every single game, but it was always based off how he impacted the game.
Well,
You,
let me
you,
ask you
you,
this. When his minutes
Hmm.
went down, did he pull somebody out of the 10 to take Elford's spot? Or did he increase the minutes of somebody who was already in the rotation?
I think I can't say for sure, but I think the same thing happened with Fournier last year. Now, last year it was somewhat of, what I mean, people was in and out for various reasons, COVID and everything else, injuries. So he had to keep rotating things, but everybody would come in, play well, miss a game or two. The next guy up comes in, play well, miss a game or two. You know what I mean?
But
So,
I agree with that. But that's what situational means.
and
Situational means you're not part of the 10 unless something occurs. If you're telling me
or
that
you
if
think it's
Fournier does
situational is only injury, like only if a player is out of the
correct,
game.
I have not seen
Mm.
Tibbs use situational that way. First half, I'm not going to play Fournier in the second half. He's not deserving. I'm going to pull somebody out of the rotation to play these fourth quarter minutes. No, what he would do is just increase the minutes of
Mm.
somebody who's already in the rotation. Play
May, maybe it's because these guys hadn't reached that trust level yet. Like that, so that's kind of what I'm asking you. Like how close is it? Because I think at the same time, you, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, but
Mhm.
like your argument could be if a guy is out of with foul trouble, it's not he's not going to pull from a situational thing. You know what I mean? Because and I think he would. So I think it's the same thing. Foul trouble, playing bad.
He not
You know what I
going
mean?
out at but you gotta look at his history, Tony. I mean, let's see, maybe something has changed. I don't see him for foul trouble going out of the rotation to bring a guy in for that. I
I,
see him increasing the minutes of somebody that's in the rotation. But we'll see.
yeah,
Maybe
no, you
maybe he's changed.
you
Maybe
prob
he's
you're probably
changed.
right. And I can't. I will have to go back and do research. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of the reason a lot of guys got playing time was due to COVID. You know what I mean? So I would have to like really go back and do some
Right.
crazy research that I'm not
And
gonna
and
do.
and, and this is
But
what
I
I'll say
think
about
Sims
I'm
got
sorry,
some.
go
You know
ahead.
what I mean? Everybody, I can't. I gotta say it had to been at least two times somebody came in based off of somebody else not playing well. That wasn't a normal rotation guy. It wasn't a normal occurrence, but I'm sure it's
It may
happened.
have. It may have. I mean, I remember Sims coming in for foul trouble, but it was both of them was in foul trouble.
Hmm.
So he had
True.
to bring Sims in. But this is what I will say about Cam though. I think Cam has played okay.
Hmm.
I don't think Cam has played out of this world. You know, I think that I appreciate his defense and what he does, but his shot selection is not that great. Um, you know, there's times when he looks fluid and, like I said before, Iceman Gervinish, and then there's other times where he's bumbling around. I don't I see why Cam is where he's at as far as where he's been career wise because you can see the flashes of it, but he just has not been able to put that together on a consistent um basis, even a limited role. You know, you don't have to show everything, but in a limited role, just be consistent in whatever your role is. Um,
Shut
and
up.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
I'm
biting.
gonna let
I'm
you. I'm
biting.
gonna let you. I'm gonna let you right in. I just wanted to say I said this before, but I really liking the way um Cam is playing to the way Obi played last year. To a lesser degree, as far as like I don't think he has. I think he did in preseason as had that concern of getting pulled. Da, 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 but I think he's eased his way to more of a comfort level quicker than Obi did. You know what I mean? But I think he's just getting that comfort level or that understanding. You know what I mean? Like, don't look at Tibbs. Like Obi, he probably took him almost to the end of the season to learn that, as opposed to you know what I mean, relatively half a season for Cam. Where I think he's, but I think it's a good comparison in that where he's just trying to figure out his niche. Honestly, in totality, I can't say Cam has played better than Obi, but for the stretches of where Cam is to where Obi was, I think Cam has played better than Obi. Um, and I think what's kept him on the floor, honestly, is the defense. It hasn't really been like the offense has been sporadic and in spurts. You know what I mean? It's been a couple of wild moments here and there. It's really been the defense. It's really been that effort. You know what I mean? Like
I agree with
messing up
that.
and then coming back and making right. You know what I mean? I've seen that pretty consistently from him. I would hope he doesn't mess up as much. You know what I mean? But the fact that that effort comes in and he recovers and maybe the next play he makes a good play that kind of balances things out. Um, I I think I don't know. I'm basing it off of Tip's history as well. I think
Mhm,
he's
mhm.
shown that he might deserve a closer spot. You know what I mean? It could still be situational, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be only because of injury. or only because of absence. You know what I mean? I think it could be a absence in that game, like not there mentally or not there. Don't got it today, and he might get shots from that as well. Go ahead, Shuttle. I know that was longer than I expected. My bad.
No, it's all good.
Oh, and that
I just want to make it very, very clear for all of us that IQ is IQ's not having a good start to this season. I mean, he's shooting
His father
30
is in the chat, Paris Duggar.
30.8% from three. Um, believe it or not, IQ is shooting 66% from the foul line,
Mm.
and he's only shooting 36.7% from the field. And Cam, the gentleman that Queen wants to sit, is averaging 8 points a game. He's averaging 40% from three and 49% from the field, and is clearly playing significantly better defense than IQ.
At a different position, though.
The value of his defense is what it is. If you put Rose in place of IQ, the defense is not going to be any worse. So, I
You
mean,
don't think IQ is a better defender than Rose?
I think that for IQ to be shooting 30% from three, 37% from the field overall, whatever defense is better than Rose is so marginal that it's not worth the leadership and the stabilization that I'm going to get with Rose as the point guard with the second unit.
um real quick, let me shout out Paris Duggar for the super chat. Appreciate you. A
Duggar
coach
Duggar.
a coach is garbage if his players never get better. Um
So I guess coach ain't garbage then, because Obi's better. You know, I mean,
I was going there as well. Like I think more
come on.
guys on our team are better, and we could point out individual spots of growth. Now I don't think anyone has kind of reached their potential yet, or what I mean, whether that's good or bad. I, I don't think that anyone's a finished product. You know what I mean? So I think there's still ascending to do for a lot of our guys, but I think we've had growth. They've gotten better.
I'd like to see more though, so I ain't mad at him for that. I'd like to see the players. Uh, I like to see the players like year five. Mitch doesn't have a go-to shot. Nothing. He has nothing. So
I'm
you know,
not
I,
I'm not
I
co-signing this.
what was that?
I say I'm not co-signing this.
Oh, you're not co-signing that Mitch doesn't have a go-to shot yet?
Oh no. I'm just saying that he hasn't got better.
He has gotten a little bit better with his awareness, but like every time he has the ball at the top of the key, I'm nervous. Like he does this awkward things. Like relax, calm down. Like you don't know what to do with the ball. Take it easy. You're a basketball player.
Yeah, I think
So
every time you think, oh, sorry.
Bet.
no, that I don't I
Every
don't want
time
to
you think
I don't
Mitch
want to
has
drag
turned the
you.
corner, it's something happens that you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, well, yeah.
My thing is this: the reason I'm not discouraged as of yet is one, Hartenstein, Hartenstein
Stop
has had a
saying,
he, he's had a he's had a chance to show improve and step up and been super valuable. And secondly, I rather him have to readjust to his foul troubles and figure that out, which we've seen him do, than us dealing with an injury at this point or something like that. So I think he'll figure that out again. It might be because his blocks are up. You know what I mean? He, it- it's really just the ticky tack ones that are hurting him. You know what I mean, and keeping him off the floor. To be honest, like it's not really. I'll live with the block attempts that are fouls. You know what
Right.
I mean? It's those reach-ins and those like hand checks or pull up jumper ones that
Mhm.
you gotta refrain from. Um, but he's better out there, so it's you know what I mean. It's he's learning. He's way better out on the perimeter than he's been. So excuse me. This is another just adjustment. Canal, we getting there like right now, like 5 minutes or less.
Slow learner.
um, I think we covered all the different scenarios of if one guy's out, both guys out, vice versa, etc. So I wanted to do something a little bit different this time and talk about what this team needs moving forward. Um, Speculate. Do we see a trade moving forward? Um, Big or small. You know what I mean? I think there's some small tweaks we could do. I think there's some. Obviously, there's always a big move out there you could do.
I saw one today that piqued my interest.
Go ahead, lead it off, set it off.
Set it off. Evan Fournier and a couple of picks or pick or two or whatever for Buddy Hield.
A part of me was like, "Do we do we need another shooting guard?" But you know what? You could talk about position, you gotta talk about production, and he can
I
shoot
mean,
the ball.
yeah, they was 1-on-2, 1-2 and threes made right last year.
Who's that?
Healed
Hill?
and Fournier.
Well, Hield's always up there. So I mean, he's top five almost every year.
I
So
mean,
and he's actually not only a great shooter, but he also slashes and gets to the basket very well.
you know what? That's a great one. I think
The
I would
salaries,
prefer it be one. Obviously, like if you let me ask you guys this: do two picks make you walk away?
What, first round, second
Yeah,
round pick?
yeah. No, first rounders.
Nah, yeah, hell, I'm
Okay,
not
okay.
giving up 2 first round picks for
Would you
Buddy
would
Hield.
you do one?
No, I wouldn't even
what?
do 1 for Buddy Hield.
Okay.
Really?
I would say those first round picks for the next star,
What?
hopefully in my lifetime, will
Okay, okay,
become available.
okay. Let's say there's a restricted two or one.
Restricted, you mean protected
yeah,
picks?
yeah, not yeah.
I would give up a protected pick, not the Milwaukee, not the top 5 protected pick.
No, not that one. Definitely not
Obviously,
that one. Definitely not
obviously.
that one.
Would you do two of them?
Nah,
Okay,
nah,
fair enough.
because, as well as he can shoot, he's not a great defender. He
I,
doesn't have a lot of size either.
you're right on all of those instances. Here's my reason why I would consider it. I might even do I might even do the one unprotected. Um, Depending on if we could get an add-on piece to that. I don't know who's over there or whatever the situation, but some kind of additional incentive. But what we need from him is all he does. Like we know he has the same type of defensive lapses and issues as a Fournier by far. I don't know if you could argue one is better than the other or not. Um, but definitely not plus defenders. But you can argue he's a better shooter. You can argue the fact that that's all you need from him, and that's pretty much all he does. I feel like Fournier is lost at times because he's capable and able to do more. He's not. He hasn't just hit that mindset of he might feel restricted if you tell him all we want from you is shoot threes and focus on that. That's mostly what we get from him. But I think part of the problem is he can do more. You know what I mean? So he's not focused on, you know what I mean, this is all I need. Hill, that's all. Like if you tell him that, you don't gotta tell him twice. You know what I mean? You don't gotta explain it in detail. He's gonna love that. Oh, I can shoot 10 of those things. You know what I mean? Like, but that's all I'm doing.
But what I will
Um,
say is that's not all we need.
I
The
mean,
the issue with this team, I mean, shooting is an issue, but our number one issue is perimeter defense. That's our number one issue. So I
I,
don't see how Buddy Hield solves that. To me, he's similar to Evan, a shooter that can't defend, and he has less size than Fournier.
I mean, you're right in those aspects. I just feel like I know you hate when I say this. I just
He
feel
could
like
play a
he.
little point guard.
No, 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 no. I was not going there. I was not going. And usually I say if. I always say if, but I
Mm.
wasn't going there. No, but I think the fit is better. That's the other one you hate
I
when I say.
I I, I
I,
think
I
I think it's a better fit. I think it's a more of like I think he would gel better with the players than like Evan just doesn't. He just doesn't jive with the
it's
guys.
almost like he's an outcaster by default. You know what I mean? Like through no fault of his own, through no fault of any particular player. You know what I mean, or whatever the case. And no disrespect to him because I like Fournier. You know what I mean? I feel like if he accepts or if they told him like you got the green light to shoot 10 a game. You know what I mean? Just don't hesitate to do it. Not restrict him, but let him focus. Like, that's what we need from you. Like that's your biggest attribute or contribute. The biggest way you can contribute for us. You know what I mean? Not saying lapse on defense intentionally. You know what I mean? But we know your limitations. This is what we need. But yeah, I think dude fits better.
Listen, go get a Nobi if he's available. Go get a defensive wing that can shoot and play defense. We need two-way players.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need two-way players. I think our three-point shooting is gonna come around. Last year with this similar team, we were top 10, I think, in three-point percentage, top 10 in three-point made. That's gonna come along. That perimeter defense,
What what cost do you what do you give up for him?
I don't
And,
even
and,
think
and
he's available, but I'm just saying we
I
just need a
mean,
two-way player.
even if
Absolutely
you're
not
aggressive,
available.
what if you're aggressively pursuing? Like nobody got to be available. You know what I mean? But if you're aggressively pursuing and knowing what happened with the last trade talk situation
Well, but he's
is
not
is
Donovan Mitchell's class
I
now.
agree. But
Yeah.
do you learn from that, or do you have your boundary and you stand on your boundary?
You
You
gotta
you know
have
what I mean?
listen, for a player like Onobi, you gotta have boundaries. Like,
Okay,
he's
so
not a star.
where would you go for that one? It one unprotected, you would start there, or you looking at protectors
This is
first?
something they would not do,
Okay.
but I would trade RJ for Onobi straight up.
Mm.
Straight up. He has the size. There's the injury history thing, but I would take the
You
chance because
wild.
he's making less money.
You
Um,
That's
wilding right now. You wild. She wilding right now, Tone. She wilding.
listen,
She wilding
there's an
right
injury history,
now.
don't get me wrong, but he's making less money. So if I'm gonna pay somebody $17 million over some, I'm gonna still have money left to do
yeah.
something else. And this guy he plays all three
You,
levels
you know it's
and he defends.
it's crazy, and you can make my fit argument, but I don't know if I would do it either because I'm still not very well versed on him.
He has an
But
injury history.
you know what I mean. But from what I've seen, it's not like he's not built for here either. You know what I mean? Like I think he has that kind of attitude, New York attitude. Um, but no, I'm not gonna co-sign that just yet. Um, and you don't think they would do it? I
Nah,
think they.
No,
not the Raptors.
You don't
the
think they?
Raptors. Why would the Raptors do it? A Nobi, if he's healthy,
I
I think it's
guess. I
RJ
guess.
Barrett.
All right. All right. Devil's advocate. We're not saying we should do this trade or not, because I know there's a lot of RJ, you know, lovers out there. But
Yeah, lot of
would
man,
would you
lot of man crush on RJ.
would you incentivize the trade? What is
What
your
do you
limit? That's what I'm asking. You know what I mean? What's your cutoff point? Because you said there should be one for him.
they should be.
You said there should be a cutoff point for him. So what would your cutoff
I mean,
point
that's
be?
it. It would just be RJ straight
Oh,
up.
so if
If
they
they
say we
say
want
no
a
to
first
that, you
two,
just keep it moving, keep it pushing.
or so if they say a first two, you saying no. If they say protected
RJ
first,
and a forward,
pr-
RJ and a protected first.
come on, you
You know,
won
I
it.
would.
You play the GM. You won them.
I would need his medical. I
Mm,
would need his medical
mm.
for that. RJ and a protect, because already, we're taking into consideration the history. Um,
Well, he's only
Mm.
25. He's averaging almost 36 minutes a game right now. So he ain't injured right now.
Shout out to Paris Duggar again with the super chat. He says $300 million players, and we still need everything. Um, man, yo, I hate that I gotta rebuke some of the comments after a super chat, but the only thing I'm gonna say about that is RJ ain't into that deal yet. You know what I mean? So technically, we got two guys making 100 million. Uh, next year, RJ starts.
Nice, nice. That was slick. That's the loophole. Hit him with the loophole, Tone.
Okay. I
Hit him with
got
the
you, man.
loophole.
'Cause
Hit him with the loophole. Also, Jalen Brunson. I would say
descending.
if there's any one player that
Mm,
I felt the most comfortable and confident with, uh, on the entire starting lineup, it is Brunson, who's in that 100 million club. And so I don't feel like we need a point guard.
right,
mm.
right.
All right, Queen, it's your turn. You gotta defend Julius Randle and complete the trilogy.
Well, listen, I listen. I'm for the Knicks. Whatever we can get for the Knicks to be better, I'm okay with it. But I will tell you this: he has some things he needs to shore up. But right now, he looks like he's in the running for a very good season. The
Okay, all right.
quickness, the decisiveness, the limiting his 3-point shots because you're not a 3-point shooter. So understanding what you do well and playing to your strengths, he's doing that. The last two games, he didn't take not one 3-pointer, right? His handle is tighter. He's taking guys to the rim, but you got to hit them layups. He's getting there, but he has to get those layups. I'm really encouraged by what I'm seeing in Randall. He's gonna be, we'll see what happens. Probably our second best player. I still think Brunson, probably be even if it's statistically Randall is better, I still think Brunson is gonna be our um best player. So put it this way. If at the end of the season, Randall is 18 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists on good efficiency, and he's making good decisions as our secondary facilitator, I'm happy.
Especially if those turnovers stay at 2.2.
Right. I'm happy.
No doubt. Trey Murphy the third says,
Sherwin
I'm
says,
sorry, says will be cheaper. Will be cheaper. Sherwin says yes, will be cheaper than Obi and IQ. And at first, he's shooting 60% from three recently. He
I
is a
like him, but that's
defender.
too much, Sherwin. I
Um,
like Trey Murphy the third, but that's too much. OB, IQ, and a first. Come on, that's a bit much.
I agree. Well, all right, protect it first.
I'm not giving up
Okay,
OB and IQ for
fair
Trey
enough.
Murphy the
But
third.
he actually was right on par with where I was going next, and then I promise we'll get into this Primo thing real
Mhm.
quick, and we out of here. Um, oh shoot, did I lose it? What was you just saying? What Sharon just said? Oh, what about a trade again? Not maybe not moving a starter, or you know what I mean, and upgrading a second unit piece, or you know what I mean. Does it have to be something that is it is a home run, or do you think there's something small that we could pull off that kind
I
of glues the team together?
Anobi is small. He's not a star, you know. Um, but I don't know. I just feel like we need something in that starting unit. I'm
Hmm.
okay with the bench.
Mm.
Um, our bench is right now second in scoring in the league. I like Hartenstein. Obi's improved. I like Rose playing his 12 to 14 minutes. You know,
The,
I
the,
just feel like we need something in that we need a wing player.
the only pushback I have about that is the fact that it's RJ. You know what I mean? That we referenced in that trade. It becomes a big thing. You know what I mean? Whether it's the Knicks fans, I think the media, makes a big deal out of it. Um, so I
Okay.
think it becomes no. I'm saying I think it becomes a big trade. Whether I know you're talking about the value of the player and the
I'm just
impact
talking
on the
about on
on
the
the court,
basketball court. It's
but
not
I
gonna
think
make us a championship contender, but it'll make our defense better and it'll make us a better team.
yeah, arguably, because I think that's what the you know what I mean the argument will be out there in you know what I mean in the media whether
I get you, but to me, I'm separating the
I
media
get
and
you.
what
I
people think about it from purely a basketball perspective. But I hear what you're saying. People are gonna make a big deal out of you. Just signed them to. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think
mhm,
it's gonna happen.
I
They
get it.
not they not giving up OG. Um, that their team all two-way players. All two-way players. That's what makes Toronto as good as they are.
All right.
They're not
Um,
giving them up.
free
Not at
agent
all.
options out there. Shutter, you want to add something to that?
No, and I was just saying,
All right.
not at all. And the Knicks are not looking to trade RJ this year.
Right.
That's not even on the
If they
table.
trade him, it's gonna be for a star.
I agree. That's why I think well, we talked about it. Free agents. Melo's still out there. You know,
Your boy,
we need shooting. This is arguably at a position where I think we can find minutes for him, whether it's uh 3 or 5 or 3 or 4, excuse me. And when I say fine, I'm not saying he's got to come in and he'll be situational coming in, but I think again he's somebody that will, if we down and we need threes, you know what I mean? I think that's also a situation where somebody could get put in at the end of a quarter, end of a game. And then if guys just aren't playing well, I think he could get a look. But anyway, Melo still out there. We'll start with Melo. Yeah or nay? We'll keep it quick. Veteran leadership coming home part two. I'm seeing y'all shaking your head. Y'all don't even want to say that. It's not gonna hurt my feeling. I'm just throwing it out there.
nah, not unless somebody gets hurt.
Nah.
Or a trade is made.
Listen,
Yeah, and
we
you're
keep
void of
talking about
players.
offensive plays. I don't understand why we think we need shooters. Our number one need right now are perimeter defenders.
Defenders.
That is our number one need.
I think our number.
Shooting,
I think that's our number two
number
need.
two.
I think that's our number two need. So I think they. You know what I mean? Like, what are we 29th in 3-point percentage? I think that was
But I just think because we're not shooting well right now. I mean, listen, I
fair
get it.
enough.
We
It's
need
still
shooting.
early. You're
We
right.
need
Fair
shooting.
enough.
We talked
It's
about this preseason. We need more shooting around
and it's
Brunson. He
and
likes
it's
to operate.
showing.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean? So I think both of them are showing. Like the perimeter defense is showing that we need help there, and I guess what you're saying is if you have to
let's find
bank
a
on one of
two-way player.
if you have to bank on one of them improving our 3-point shooting or our perimeter defense, you would bank it on our 3-point shooting.
Yeah. I would no. In terms of what we would need,
What no? Which one? If you said one of these areas we're gonna improve in. You would think we're gonna improve in shooting, our
No, I
shooting.
think we're gonna improve. I think we'll improve. Our defense is gonna improve as well once we take Fournier out the starting lineup. That's gonna improve as well. Um, it's just bad. Our perimeter defense is just bad. So maybe the primacy effect. That's what I'm focusing on. What I
Hmm.
saw in Cleveland. you know.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Throw this.
But nah to Melo. Can we let's get a stopper. Let's get an energy guy. Let's get a two-way player. Let's do something like that.
That's what I like. Some positivity. Paris Degger, appreciate the super chat. I like McBride, Grimes, and Sims on switchability. I agree on all of them. I think the order obviously is Grimes, Sims, and McBride as far as who gets the opportunities, in my opinion. But I like all of their switchability on defense. Let me pull up one more comment. J Tap, appreciate you. Tony's always looking at the bright side, positive side of things. You gotta love it. I appreciate it. I try to play both sides. You know what I mean. I try to you know what I mean, be even kill or play devil's advocate even when I don't agree with things, just to throw things out there. Um. So all right, now we're gonna get into like two touchy subjects. No pun intended on either one. Damn. Um.
Right, 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 right.
Ah, that was wild right there, kid.
but let's start with Miles Bridges, obviously still a restricted free agent. Um, Obviously, I'm saying if somehow there is no criminal um conviction, and he's allowed and free to you know shop for a deal, even though it's restricted. I mean, obviously, a couple of things would have to happen. We would have to have the cap space to offer him the lucrative enough deal for him to take, and Charlotte not to match. But let's speak in hypotheticals. Does his charge and his situation stop you from going after a talent if we had the money to pursue him? And I guess we don't even really have to separate them because I don't want to get into details on either one of the accusations of these guys. So I guess we could just broaden it to, is it talent over charges or talent over allegations? Um, and does the money, just to bring it to these two guys without talking about what they did, does the money affect your decision? Because obviously you're gonna have to pay a lot more for a Miles Bridges at this particular moment, and I only say that because Charlotte has the opportunity to match. If he was unrestricted, then I think you can negotiate however you want as far as the money, 1 year, earn it, this, that, whatever,
Mm.
as opposed to Primo, waived, cleared waivers, unrestricted free agent, not going to cost nearly as much either way, but still a young, talented guy that you could probably get relatively cheap. So I guess we could talk about it in both scenarios. Does it change anything? The money that it costs to get him, does that change your decision? Whoever wants to lead.
Nah, the money is the money. Either there's a moral compass that is keeping you from rocking with them or not. And then they're just gonna get their market value. And in terms of whether you bring the players in or not, I mean, like, listen, it's I don't really get where in sports there's this different concept than it is in the rest of the world. You know, if I had a an assault charge and I went to jail, I was, convicted. I did a year. I was proven not guilty. Whatever happens, happens, and I can still go get a job. If there's a clause that says, "Yo," they ask you on the application, "Do you have any felonies?" And often, if you have a felony, they won't hire you. Well, if the NBA doesn't really have a law that says if you have these type of charges that you've been proven guilty of, then you can't get work. Like, who am I to tell the people that they can't get work? To me, it's very simple. If the NBA gives them clearance,
Well,
somebody else is going to sign them. Why wouldn't I?
my question to your initial statement, the moral compass thing, because I think that's what it ends up boiling down to, more than just the NBA. You know what I mean? Because if the NBA makes a rule, then that rule is for every team. You know what I mean? Nobody could get them, or yeah, it's open field. But individually, obviously, the San Antonio Spurs, whatever the accusation is, they said no, we're cutting ties now. You know what I mean? Like, whether you want to, again, without getting into the details, but some could argue that they could have they could have suspended him, not waived him. They could have um stood behind him. Now maybe they have all the details. Obviously, the most of the details have not come out, but they could have stood behind him in the sense of he needs help, and we're gonna do what we can do to help him away from basketball, and then you know if we want to bring him back, whether it's a year later, 6 months later, however long it takes to get him help, the help that he needs, like they could have went that route as well. So obviously their moral compass made them say no, we're cutting ties immediately. And who's to say, I mean, I don't doubt that. I don't think it's the climate and the times we're specifically that made them, because they're one of the classier organizations out there anyway. Um, but specifically with Primo, I think that was a very big and bold move that they did with a young guy that they obviously invested in and valued more than the rest of the league. When you go back to the draft and where they picked them, and to cut ties immediately, relatively, um, they had the moral compass. But every other team, I don't think, has to have the same moral compass as the Spurs. So it gets tricky. So I hear what you're saying. You're saying in general, I believe you're saying in general, let them make their money if somebody want to pay them. Specifically, are you saying the same thing you would presume?
I'm saying that if he if if he goes through his process, gets cleared, that the NBA is going to clear him, like, I have to allow the NBA to be the
You're not gonna be the social justice
no.
police. I'm not saying, I'm speaking from an organizational standpoint. What would you do? I'm not speaking I mean, because I agree in a sense, obvious, especially if you paid your debt to society, or um was found not guilty, or no criminal charges have been brought up, whatever the case is. I don't think the NBA or a team should supersede the criminal part of it. You know what I mean? But
that
again, we in the
that
wake
that's
of Idoka's situation. We in the wake of, you know what I mean? The Suns owner saying some vulgar things to women, and not comparing any situation, but I think it makes it easier maybe to make that decision for the Spurs at least.
Listen, I don't point any finger or have a judgment against the Spurs or against the Hornets. You know, I just, again, everybody has to have the opportunity to to have their day in court, as the saying goes. And if you have your day in court, or if there's a settlement, if the charges get dropped or whatever, like, at the end of the day, the commissioner and the NBA board work for the teams, and part of your job working for the teams is to make these decisions. Like, take it out of the team's hands. If you're not going to take it out of the team's hands by saying he can't play, then any team should be comfortable scooping him up.
Yeah, I mean, for the Knicks, I would say go in a different direction. I agree. So both can be true. You can believe in second chances, but you can say not here. So yeah, I mean, I agree with Shuttle in the sense that if Miles Bridges, if Primo, they go through counseling, if that's what they need. I don't even know if that's what they need, but if they go through counseling or they go through the court system, Miles um, I mean, Bridges is found not guilty or whatever. Um, Primo goes through counseling or whatever he needs. Um, yeah, I think they should get a second chance. But then as an organization, you get to make a decision, will that second chance be here? You know,
Well,
and listen, when you think about New York, if you're thinking about the media market, you can,
Hmm.
you can say, nah, I don't really need that drama. Though it will blow
Hmm.
over time, it will blow over. Um,
And
you could
honestly,
just be like, nah, not here.
the if it is here, the best thing to do is number one, address it before you even, you know what I mean, before it's even in the Nick uniform. Address it as a man. You know what I mean? This wasn't a basketball thing. So you come out and make your amends, make your statement, make your whatever. You know what I mean?
get in
You
front
don't
of
have
it.
to do that for the in a Nick uniform. All this obviously hypothetical. Um Now will it be brought up? Yeah, probably. But the fact that you address it outside of basketball, it's an out of basketball incident. All you got to do now is reference where you addressed it. You know what I mean? Moving forward. Um
Primo, for those who didn't know, there are reports that he flashed himself. And this is what's not clear to me. Was it multiple times to one woman? Was it multiple women? That part I'm not clear of, but that he did like a flasher. So I think it was more than
yes,
one time.
I actually did read after we talked about it behind the scenes last night.
Yeah.
I found out, or at least allegedly, it's more than one woman. But one of them being the psycho,
A
psycho, my
consultant
bad,
psychologist, an
psychologist. I say
ex-consultant
psycho,
psychologist for the San Antonio Spurs. Yeah.
which is super wild in itself. Not
Okay, well, then that makes it more clear why they're letting him go. It's a little less about the moral compass. It's more about, listen, you
within the
can't be,
organization.
yeah, you can't be, Coach Udoka. You can't be sleeping with the
Mhm.
vice president's wife. Yeah, we gotta let you go.
Was that true? It was the vice president's wife?
It was a high ranking um Celtic, a high ranking front office person's wife.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember if it was VP or
Okay.
you know what I mean, which one, but yeah, allegedly.
Okay.
Not
Now
to
his
get me
departure makes a bit more sense, but okay.
um but
Yeah, So yeah, so
Well, we
with the
talk about Doka,
Spurs,
right? You know that, right? Not Primo.
In Mdoka,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
yeah. So then yeah, so back to Primo. I mean, yeah, I mean that's different. It's not like you did it to some girls at a bar. You know what I mean? You did it to one of the staff. You did it to one of the staffers. So like if the Spurs don't do that, then she goes back
yeah,
and now she's
and the
got a
Spurs are
case against the
liable.
Spurs.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
let's bring down their moral compass code a little bit now.
Okay, fair
Fair
enough.
enough. Fair enough.
Fair enough. And I love those type of points. You know what I mean? Like obviously they get the benefit of the doubt when I gave my argument based off of their reputation, based off pop alone. You know what I mean? Based off pop alone. Not saying he made that decision, but if he speaks on it, you know he gonna say the right thing.
Right. And Mdoka, he's getting a second chance. He's going to the Nets. So
Hmm.
it seems like I don't know if that was finalized, or not. And so, like I said, both can be true. You can believe in second chances, but you can also say that second chance won't be here.
And that's why I also say everyone's moral compass is different, or it differs based off of the scenario. I'm not trying to compare anything, but
Mm.
all three of those situations, uh Doka, Miles Bridges, Primo, those all have to be judged differently because they're different accusations, they're different actions. So you may I'm not going to make that judgment, but you may feel like one is less punishable or forgivable than the other, and one you may be quicker to forgive. Let me ask you this, and I'm sorry I didn't get who said it in the chat, but somebody said they would sign Primo, put him in the G League for the year, um, and like he has no option of playing with the big team this year, but they would sign him and lock him up in that sense. Um, I was gonna ask a different question, but very similar. Would you sign a guy like that, not play him, sit him for a year? I didn't think of the G League part, but put him in some kind of program, some therapy, some like whatever the help he actually needs. That is that a way of I don't even want to say selling, but selling to your fan base that I believe in second chances, but it's not going to be a free or I trust that what I mean, you change. We're going to help him get the help that he needs to change or
That,
help him get
yeah,
right.
that's I mean, that's a healthy play for the player. It's a healthy, approach for the player, and it covers your basis for your public perception, and allows him to kind of not deal with too much pressure too quick, and to ease him in. This is very very much like what was done for Michael Vick when he came back, uh, from his jail time and the dog fighting and all that. He came back. He was a backup. He was a backup quarterback. It was arguably, a thing where it's like, well, why is he the backup? This other guy's not really that good. And, he was just the backup until he had his time, and that time included him, going to therapy and doing community service and going to places talking to kids and just being a little bit more of an adult. So that would be a great way to get some cachet with the public, with the people, and to grow up a little bit and mature for any of these guys.
No doubt.
Listen, Primo wasn't like. Listen,
It was an
Primo is
employee.
not
It was an employee.
right, but Primo was on the San Antonio Spurs. I'm not doing anything. You need to do that for yourself.
Mm.
I'm not bringing you in, putting you through counseling and all of that. No. You need to go through your process, whether that's the legal process, the mental health process, whatever it is, and then you need to present to me and to the rest of the NBA that you got your ish together,
Hmm.
and now we can now begin talking about how you're going to represent yourself in this organization now that hopefully you are in a different place. Second, Primo is not that great of a prospect. I'm not saying he's not good. He's not that great of a prospect that I'm pouring my resources
Hmm.
into someone who got waived. It's not like Chet Holmgren got waived. It's
Hmm.
not like, somebody with
Say
a
that.
high upside got waived, and I'm like, you know what? I might want to put some effort into claim this guy, put some effort into him. It may pay off in the end. I just don't see Primo as being
Like Kareem Hunt.
I mean, the only I don't watch him enough. Obviously, my only preference to that is San Antonio, their track record. You know what I mean? Like even to this day, everybody was shocked they grabbed him at 12. I haven't heard anybody say, "Oh, what were they thinking after the fact?" You know what I mean? Like I think I put him in that. Kill me if you will. I don't care. I put him in that Anthony Simons type of guy. I don't type of player. Um Simons probably has shown more to this point. Um but I think they're similar in that in ceilings. Um
perhaps. Listen, if you're the
to
Knicks,
well
I'm
to
not looking at either one of those guys
and
right
that's what I wanted to say to you and to the chat.
now.
Like honestly, like this is like almost like a non-Nick situation.
Right,
You know what I mean? So
right.
I'm speaking in broader terms. You know what I mean? Obviously, we hold the Knicks dearly, so that's like if we're not speaking of the Knicks, you have the same stance. Um, I don't know. You know what I mean? But because we're looking very deep into it in that sense. But do you think the money changes anything? Like we're talking about a guy that you talk about 2 million maybe in financially um that it could cost to pick them up in this type of deal as opposed to a Bridges who Bridges is a better player like far superior. Um, do you feel the same
It
way
doesn't make
with
a difference.
Bridges?
It doesn't make a difference to me. I believe, like I said, you deserve a second chance. But if I'm the Knicks, I'm not signing any of them. It doesn't even matter what the money is.
And you feel that way? I mean, let's take the Knicks out of it, but you're a GM. You feel that way? Like you're not signing him to my team,
To
or
my team.
okay.
But if others, decide that they want to sign him, I don't have a problem with that.
All right. Um, I had another point I wanted to ask you about because I know you said, yeah, you got to fix all that on your own. Um, that's what you said though. You said he was in the Spurs. If now we're bringing it to the Knicks. If he was our player, does that change anything as far as providing the help or trying to, what I mean, trying to get him the help?
Yeah, I think this is probably
Either one of them.
where I feel a little different. A little, let me try to explain it. If you're part of my organization, you family. And all of us have families where individual members of our family do things that are just outside of the pit. Like what were you thinking? What are what are you doing? This is not what we're about, right? But for the most part, you don't kick them to the curb. You don't, you love the player, but the person, a family member, but you don't love the behavior, right? So if they were actually on the Knicks, I probably, I probably maybe not waive them. Maybe each situation is different. You know, um, See if I can help them get the support they need. But at the same time, you got to
Mhm.
be accountable for your actions. That's periods point blank. Like I'm not running cover for you. You're going to be accountable for your actions, whatever that means. You know, we're going to support you, as much as we can. But the main thing right now is you as a person, not even the team. It's just
Is
you as a person getting
okay.
your stuff together.
So with Bridges, do you rescind that? Because they had time to rescind that qualifying offer. Do you do that, or do you keep that qualifying offer and then just let the chips fall where they may? You know what I mean? Maybe you don't have intent of re-signing him, but you could use it as a sign and trade type situation. If he does find a place that you know what I mean, like you can still work out, or do you take your moral stance and not even give that qualifying offer?
Well, I think you could do both. I think you can hedge your bets, in terms of, listen, he has to be accountable for his actions. We don't know how this, is gonna go. Maybe we do want to keep a controlling, interest. But at the end of the day, you know, we're not capping for this guy. Like you're gonna have to deal with it. But we'll keep our controlling interest in case he turns things around. You know that that that's where I'm leaning now in terms of where I would go. You never really know what you're gonna do until you're in the situation and you're dealing with all of the moving parts.
No doubt. Shadow, you want to add anything?
Nah,
It's a little touchy. You know what I mean? I tried to
not for
respect.
me. Not for
Well,
me.
I don't want to come off wrong to anybody. To be you know what I mean. To be honest, so I'm trying to stay respectful and kind of just broaden the situation and kind of
But
speak
listen,
on
you
things
can.
in that.
But this is the thing: in these situations in general, you cannot like the behavior. It doesn't mean you have to. These people are still human beings. You cannot like the behavior. It doesn't mean you have to kill the person. It doesn't mean you have to. You can still. I don't want to say show love because that sounds like you're condoning what they're doing. But you could take a strong stance against that. Nah, that's not gonna fly.
See,
But it doesn't mean that you gotta compound the issue by so now you get no support. We're not talking to you, because I've seen this happen in communities and I've seen this happen in families. You know what I mean?
I
So,
mean,
oh, no, well, he not my son anymore, or he's not my so and so any like you can not like the behavior and still feel for the person. You understand they gotta
yeah,
go through what they gotta
yeah,
go through.
and sometimes that's warranted. Though you know what I mean. Like sometimes a cutoff is warranted. It may be hard
Sometimes it is.
as
Mhm.
all you know what I
Right.
mean, but sometimes it is warranted. Uh, I'm sorry, I lost. I had something I wanted to close out with, but I appreciate you you guys joining me. Oh, again, the way I opened the show, RIP take off, for sure. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. This world is bugging out right now. You know what I mean, on all fronts. I agree. You know, he's human. They both human. I didn't give my take. I would honestly do a 1 year suspension, like a 1 year ban. I would set a message on both of those gentlemen. To be honest,
Right.
um, now I don't know if you could do that and have a a clause, like, because I hate to jump the gun. If if there's a legal trial and by some chance, somebody is found not guilty, I don't want to jump the gun and give any type of punishment before you know, legal status is out there. So it is tough. And the funny thing is, if there is convictions, that 1 year ban might not even be relevant based off of what type of criminal time you're doing. Um, so I'm gonna just say thoughts and prayers to everybody. You know what I mean. If you need help, I hope you get the help. And to the victims alleged or you know what I mean, alleged until proven, but to the victims and prayers and prayers out to you guys as well and families and everybody involved. Prayers out to Takeoff and all his family and friends as well. Um, yeah, we could get out of here. I don't know if y'all want to end off. I got real sad just now, but
Let's go.
I
Let's
don't know.
go
Oh,
Knicks.
Yeah, man, let's get a
Let's go
win
Knicks.
tomorrow. I need some positivity.
Yeah,
yeah,
because
well, we play
if,
Atlanta tomorrow. If we get that win, that'll be real positive.
if
Absolutely.
if you can't get up for any of these teams, Atlanta should be one that you get your mind right for. You
No doubt
know,
about it.
some of these guys on the roster were here for the playoffs 2 years ago, and some of the antics of Mr. Young. So over the past 2 years.
And
So
let's see who upgraded better.
I don't think.
listen,
I mean, they gave up a lot for that defense. To forget Murray and for defense, they gave up a lot of their offense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we shall
mm,
see. Queen, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Pregame or
Yep.
post
I
game,
should be there.
one or the other. Shuttle. It's been a couple weeks, so I'm glad you made it back. You know, glad you was aboard, all aboard. You know, shout out to you guys. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black, it's time. We out of here.